Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to the first Fishtrap Fireside of 2021. We've got a star-studded, action-packed episode for you this month. My name is Mike Midlow. I'm the program director here. Fishtrap is a literary arts and humanities organization in Wallowa County, homeland of the Nez Perce people. And since way back in 1988, Fishtrap has worked to promote clear thinking and good writing in and about the West. Now, one of the big ways we do this is to give opportunities for writers to share their work. And this year, we've learned that we can reach far beyond Wallowa County to people everywhere in their homes. It's inspiring. Here's how Fishtrap Fireside works. Each month, we invite 3 readers to get up and read and share whatever they want. And since 2013, we've heard a lot of tales, poems, essays, emotional stories, hundreds of them, and each is an original work from somebody who lives right here in our neighborhood. This month's featured readers are Kate Forster, who is also on Fishtrap's board, Cindi Gaterud, and Kathryn Kemp. Before we get going, I want to thank our January Fireside sponsor, Ruby Peak Naturals. Thanks, Leslie. Those sandwiches are the best. And I want to thank each and every one of you who included Fishtrap in your year-end giving. You are the reason we do what we do. So pour yourself a cup of something, throw a log on the fire, sit back, and enjoy tonight's program. Let's get going with our first reader. Kate Forster was raised in Wallowa County and is thankful to continue to call this place home. After beautiful, life-changing experience in Putney, Vermont at Landmark College and in Gunnison, Colorado at Western State College of Colorado, her work took her back home to the Beaver State. Go Beavs! Kate works as a peer support specialist at the Assertive Community Treatment Team and Wallowa County Center for Wellness. She loves helping people and being a part of a phenomenal team. She credits her writing abilities to her parents. Her mom was an English teacher and her dad was a sports writer for the Oregonian and Chieftain. She also has 2 amazing sisters who have been by her side through thick and thin. Community and place have always been an important part to Kate. When not working, she enjoys spending time outdoors in every season. Bonfires with friends, watching football, and going on drives through this spectacular county we get to call home. Hi, Kate. I know you're a big Beavers fan. Do you also watch the NFL?
What's that? Do I watch it?
Are you an NFL fan?
Yeah, I watch NFL. I usually follow the like college players that I know of from Oregon who, at the smaller schools who are sort of the underdogs and they made it to the NFL. Like Kevin Boss of the New York Giants. He went to Western Oregon and he did an amazing job in the Super Bowl, and now he lives in Bend. I don't know, random, but yeah.
Well, and of course, all the other sports, basketball, etc. But we're going to talk about what you've written recently. Thanks for joining us. I'm super glad that you came in. Would you read a little something for us?
Yes, I would love to.
Thanks.
So my first poem, it's called Why I Write. I write to help process. Making tough decisions easier, break down grandiose ideas to see. I write for better communication and understanding, to transform my jumbled thoughts into clarity. I write for you, for me, to heal. What I hear when I can't hear. During time off, I take my hearing aids out in the middle of the day, observing myself becoming more calm in a meditative state. Born with a hearing loss, getting worse through the years. Tests at Corvallis Hearing 4 years ago stated I hear 18% out of my left ear, 53% out of my right. They have saved my life. But when I'm out in the woods, or at home in the evening, just me and my dog, I remove my hearing aids to help me relax. Block out worries, calm my racing mind, listen to my breath, slow my heartbeat, observe my existence, and connect with my soul. So this third piece, I want to share first. It's about my dog, and I want to share two of my really good friends painted paintings of my dog, Charlie, who recently passed away like about a month ago or so. And so they're really beautiful. So hopefully you can see those. There's the first one by my friend Morgan. It's amazing. It looks just like the photo. And then the second one is by my friend Janice, who also works at Fishtrap, and it's really awesome. Both of these pictures I took out at Ewatim Lincoln, so really, really sweet. So my third piece is called Charlie Girl. Walking into a living room with a kiddie pool full of squirming, beautiful golden retriever puppies, I was in heaven. A few weeks before, I had read an ad in the Nickel while drinking a mocha at Gypsy Java about puppies for sale in Helix, Oregon. I sat on the floor next to the puppies, playing and loving on them. Eventually, one puppy climbed outside the confines of the kiddie pool onto my lap. She was all over the place, very excited, and started nibbling on my ear. Even though I was there to pick out a puppy, she chose me. They painted her puppy nail pink so we would know who she was when I came back to get her a few weeks later. I named her Charlie. From the get-go, Charlie was an escape artist, but she would always eventually come back home. As a puppy, she loved sticks, shoes, snow, and lying in the sun, and fire. I was always worried she might get too hot. She moved with me to Portland, Forest Grove, Denver, Ketchum, and Corvallis. And every one of these places, she helped create my community. Charlie was my community, my reason for getting up in the morning to feed and walk her. We created a beautiful routine. She loved car rides and sticking her head out the window in the wind. She loved sunbathing in front of Gypsy Java, the Book Loft, and the Range Rider, and she loved barking at trucks. Her favorite spots to stop were the bank, coffee shops, and gas stations where she would always get treats. Charlie would always let me know when she had to go outside or was hungry. We created a strong connection. I gave her my stubbornness, support, and love. She gave me so much more. My sweet old stubborn Charlie passed away in November, a week after her 13th birthday. Her loss has been a punch in the gut. She was my everything. She helped me get through extremely challenging times and was the light in my life. My friend Mike Midlow says, dogs are the best people. Dogs help us. They provide connection and care, calmness and joy. They have a way of just being and making everything better. During these challenging times, let's try to be more like dogs. This is called Rise. Wake before the sun, let my sweet old dog sleep. Coffee in hand, race to watch the sun hit the Wallowas. At the lake, the airport, or Valley Heights. Unmotivated on a Monday, when I should have been motivated. Stuck in my apartment, open my windows for sometimes fresh or smoky air. Breathe. Silver linings in this historic time, a time we might want to forget, but never will. Finding ways to connect with clients, deeper conversations over the phone, time to organize your home. My heart breaks for those who have lost loved ones. Thank you to all essential workers, patience to the parents who are teaching, teachers who are parenting and teaching. You are all amazing. Missing my community, connecting in coffee shops, music at the range, laughter and high fives, hugs. Zoom just isn't the same. Look on the bright side. We have jobs or unemployment, community, people that care, friends and family, hope on the horizon. My last little poem is called Resilience. Love, heartbeat, community, dog. Laughter, smile, hear, tears. Good people coming together. Write, read, speak, stand. Don't lose your hope. That's what I have for you guys. I just want to say, yeah, I love you all. I'm thinking of everyone, especially I want to give a shout out to my friends in Vermont. I have this old school landmark mug that I'm drinking a little bit out of, and it's pretty cool. And I have this from my niece, Elise. I want to say hi to my nieces and nephews, Elise and William and Adelaide and Dallas. Love you guys. And I have this, well, this is a Fishtrap name tag, and also where I used to work back outside of Portland outdoor school. They're called wood cookies. So I wanted to wear this too. Anyways, thank you.
Happy to know you, Kate. Thank you for being a part of this. That's wonderful. Yeah, man. Dogs, they live so fast. We'll get to cats later. Tomorrow morning, Saturday, January 9th, Fishtrap is going to launch something that we've never done before. We've turned our annual Winter Fishtrap event from a live weekend gathering into a 4-week virtual experience. This year's theme is resilience. Each Saturday in January, we'll look at how resilience plays out in ourselves, our communities, our families, our neighborhoods, our cultures, and the world. We've partnered with a whole lot of regional organizations, folks that you know, on this. Go to fishtrap.org and learn more about Winter Fishtrap. These are important conversations to talk about, especially in these times. And register for what is bound to be, we think, an engaging series of conversations. It's happening Saturdays in January, starting on the 9th. All right, let's get to our next reader. Cindi Gaterud of Wallowa is a journalist who has worked as a reporter, editor, graphic designer, college teacher, and newspaper and book publisher in a career spanning nearly 50 years. After earning a journalism degree from the University of Northern Colorado in '78, he moved to Oregon, where he served 1.5 years as editor of the Great County Blue Mountain Eagle. He earned a master's degree in journalism from the University of Oregon, then taught at Minnesota State University in Mankato for 25 years. I've been to that college. Didn't go there, but I've been there. But that's not all. He holds a doctorate in American Studies and Journalism from the Union Institute, Cincinnati, where he pursued creative nonfiction focused on American road stories. He's founding publisher of Willow Avenue Review, a literary quarterly, the Minnesota Times, a statewide newspaper, and Blue Road Press, a small award-winning book company he started with his daughter. That's great. Current projects include editing a book manuscript for the Wallowa History Center, assembling a collection of his own work, and chasing ambitions in woodworking. Parents to 2 kids, he and his wife, Cindi, had no idea they would return to Eastern Oregon some 40 years later. But here they landed, retired now and happy. They report to be living, hiking, and skiing in the beautiful Wallowas. As for writing tips, John defers to a favorite teacher who advised, you don't know what you think until you write it down. John, welcome to Fishtrap Fireside. Well, it was great having you read at Fireside, at the opening Fireside last year. Would you read something for us tonight?
Yes, I would. It's a piece I've worked on in the past year, and I'll read the bookends of it. And there's an interlude about winter on a farm in Minnesota where I used to live. I'll delete that tonight and just read the bookends. And just a quick shout out to a former Fishtrap board member, David Laskin. In passing, I have a reference in this piece tonight to the Children's Blizzard, and this is a book that David published some years ago. In his book titled Giants in the Earth, O.E. Rovag writes, "They say it rained 40 days and 40 nights once in the old days, and that was terrible. But during the winter of 1880-81, it snowed twice 40 days. That was more terrible." New Year's Day. Seems right. The light just now, it's cast in shadow, late afternoon, branches black against sky fallen to rose. Another year passed, another year gone. Snow skips across the road, settles in the leaves. A lone redwing remains for the winter, the great tumbling harvest flocks long flown. It sits away from the jays and finches at the feeder, pecks absently at the ground. I wonder if it will survive until spring. First stars, distant and faint. January, a start. Spent the day looking at photographs of old North Sea islands, Orkneys and Faroes, rock-bound and remote, in jagged jades and grays, drawing me in, drawn. Something ancestral about them, of Scots and Swedes, the stacked stone, weathered visage, surf surging beneath. Some scenes were snowbound, white peaks, dark reefs. When we were kids and it snowed, the street department sometimes barricaded 2 blocks in the middle of town for sledding, the first down a steep pitch, the second for the runout. No cars allowed. Everybody came out then, great shouting packs of us, and after a while the track turned glassy, all those steel runners running all afternoon, slick and quick and on toward dusk when corner lamps lit. Later, after we moved to the country, our dad would tow my brother and me behind the car on our skis from 2 long ropes tied to the bumper. Ski yoring, he called it, as he did with his dad as a boy back in Sweden. Only here with the Studebaker, not horses. Windows down, he'd watch us through the side mirrors, cigarette punched between gnarled knuckles, black car ghosting along tree-lined roads, snow wake sharp to our faces, the light fading, no tracks for miles but our own. In Sherwood Anderson's short story, Death in the Woods, a pack of dogs races in circles before an old country woman dying in the snow under a full winter moon. She has taken a shortcut off the road from town to her farm near dark, but exhausted by the effort, stops in a clearing, spent. She carries in a small grain bag roped to her back a few provisions she earlier traded eggs for with a local grocer. A butcher, pitying her poverty, added some liver, soup bones, a few scraps of dog meat. Now, deep in the woods, ill-clad and cold, she sinks in the snow against a tree, closes her eyes. Dogs appear. They've been out hunting rabbits and start running, nose to tail, around and around in a great silent circle. In some ancient ritual of death and wolves, says the narrator, who imagines remembering this as a boy. One by one, the dogs break away and approach the woman to pause before her, then return to the track. She has fed animal life all her days, he says. Horses, cows, pigs, dogs, men. When she dies, the dogs start to worry the sack from her back drag the body across the clearing. Her dress tears open, down off her shoulders, naked to the waist. She lies face down, frozen, alone. Only the circle remains. Several days later, a hunter happens upon the scene, hurries into town, returns with the marshal, a posse of men. The boy and his brother out delivering papers follow. In the clearing, the men stand, transfixed, mystified. One of them steps forward, kneels, turns her over. Night has fallen. Moon through the trees, white clouds across the sky. The boy, years on, still sees everything, he says. The children's blizzard of January 1888 buried the prairies, killed hundreds of people. Great choking waves of snow swallowed towns, farms, churches, trains, 1,000 miles wide across the northern plains. A benign day, the 12th turned black, then white. Fronts collided, winds raged, bitter air swept south and east, dropped in places 100 degrees. No one saw it coming. Livestock vanished, families disappeared. Teachers in country schoolhouses roped students together, planned desperate escapes, lost their way. 2 months later, the most notorious snowstorm in American history, the blizzard of '88, engulfed the East Coast, killed hundreds more. A monster nor'easter dumped up to 60 inches between March 11th and 14th. Blew drifts 40 feet high. Trains stalled, barns collapsed, ships sank. No one saw this one approaching either. New York City stood silent, entombed in white. My parents married during the Great Blizzard of 1947 on December 27 in North Conway, New Hampshire, where they had met after the war. My mother was a college kid from New Jersey and worked summers and holidays as a desk clerk for her uncle, who managed the Eastern Slope Inn, a famous resort in the White Mountains. My father, born near Stockholm, worked as a bellhop at the hotel, but was there to ski. He knew Hannes Schneider, the Austrian emigre and father of the Arlberg technique, who ran the ski school on nearby Mount Cranmore, the resort's hill, and helped train soldiers for the 10th Mountain Division. The couple courted in the lobby, or so Mom used to say. The skinny Swedes, she called him. After the ceremony, they took the train down through Boston, heading for New York, where they planned to sail on New Year's Day for their honeymoon. Planned to sail on New Year's Day to Sweden for their honeymoon. It snowed the entire way, great blankets across the countryside as the train crawled toward the city, which lay stunned, paralyzed. Greatest one-day snowfall in New York history, since broken, 26.4 inches in Central Park, piles more elsewhere. Another nor'easter, no warning, no time. Their ship, the MS Gripsholm of the Swedish-American Line, moored at Pier 97 on West 57th Street, towered white, encased in ice. Most romantic trip they ever took, Mom always said. Cold, crazy. Back in the States, they settled on a farm in rural Jersey, raised chickens, cows, pigs, dogs, boys. When the volcano Krakatoa lost its top in Indonesia in late August 1883, in one of the great eruptions in recorded history, the sky turned dark for weeks, months, years. A series of brutal winters circled the world for a decade. When Krakatoa blew, Lieutenant Adolphus Greely, commander of the American contingent of the First International Polar Year Scientific Expedition, had braced himself upon a floe grinding erratically through the shifting ice of Kane Basin between Ellesmere Island and northwest Greenland. Already stranded for more than 2 years, 1,000 miles above the Arctic Circle, he now stands marooned with 24 men, exposed in the open on the ice after abandoning their small launch as they have tried to push south toward a last chance rescue before a third winter descends. They are hungry, desperate, doomed. A month adrift, they hope to reach land again, somewhere, somehow. The party has one canvas tent salvaged from sailcloth, little food. Gales scour the sound, a shattered, heaving moonscape of icebergs dwarfed by granite cliffs and calving glaciers. Shock waves from the volcano, half a world away, reverberate through the din, glance off their antipodes, pass again. The worst for Greeley had yet to begin. The worst journey in the world is often recognized as Robert Falcon Scott's Terra Nova expedition to Antarctica from 1910 to 1913. The description belongs to athlete Cherry Gerard, a crew member whose memoir by that same title recounts the savage ordeal of the Britons' race to the South Pole against the Norwegians. Harnessed like animals, the Englishmen drag sledges of food and gear, their sweat-frozen clothes stone stiff against their bodies. 40 below zero, 1,000 miles forward, 10,000 feet up. The Norwegians had learned from the Inuit that dogs travel best in polar regions, but the English, dressed in cotton, canvas, and leather, neither furs nor skins, had insisted on bringing ponies to haul their stores, which would prove disastrous. Hardy though they were, the animals, bogged down in chest-deep drifts, were no match for Antarctica. In one early scene, a group of them staked on ice near open water becomes separated from the camp when a ledge breaks and starts floating off. The men stand horrified as the ponies drift away, and with them part of the party's future rations reserved for that time to eat the dogs moment as planned by so many polar expeditions once the animals were spent. In the ensuing chaos, a pod of killer whales appears, surrounds the floe, and on some seemingly silent signal, starts jostling the ice with their heads, seesawing it up and down, side to side, until it tilts and then tips to spill the clawing, screaming ponies one by one into the frigid, churning sea. A sign, an omen. The bloody backwash frozen upon the feet of the men frozen at water's edge, dumbstruck, aghast, alone. Cherry Gerard's teeth will later chatter so hard from the cold that they break and spit out. The worst for Scott had only begun. I once watched a movie about 19th century Swedish settlers in Minnesota, Need Bigorna, in which a father, in trying to save a son from dying in a blizzard, splits an ox in half with an axe, guts the beast, and then places the dazed boy inside the carcass while he goes for help. Ash masks the sun. The teacher ropes her children together, and together push through the schoolhouse door and slip into the white gale. Sergeant Joseph Ellison of the Greeley expedition no longer stands or walks, his feet black with frostbite. He lies without complaint in his sleeping bag. When his shipmates try to move him, his right foot falls off, flesh sliding from bone. They don't have the heart to tell him. Later, 2 doctors saw off his legs, one on each limb. The cattle, lying together, backs to the wind, vanish under the snow. Newlyweds clasp hands on a snowbound train. Boys ski behind a car toward twilight. Dogs circle beneath the moon. The Red Wing goes missing. Bodies melt from drifts in the spring. Time drifts, settles in the leaves.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Mike.
All of these things you talked about remind me of the conversations we've had all the last several months about what should we be talking about at Fishtrap. And the theme keeps on coming up of resilience. And that's why a couple months ago, we decided to devote the entire year of 2021 to the theme of resilience. And I earlier talked to you about Winter Fishtrap. I also want to talk to you about a couple virtual writing workshops coming out. Next month, Fishtrap co-founder Kim Stafford and is teaching a weekend workshop February 6 and 7 called Resilience Poems, Reading and Writing. It's a 2-day virtual workshop over the weekend that invites you to cast your net wide through the cultures of the world to find poems that speak to resilience in the personal, cultural, and natural worlds. Then the next weekend on the 13th, I think, Saturday the 13th, our friend Justin Hawking continues the theme of resilience with a morning workshop called Cultivating Resilience when Writing About Trauma. And trauma can mean things in many different ways. You should check it out. Go to fishtrap.org, save your spot in either of these workshops. All right, let's get to our final reader. I'm super excited about Kathryn. And to get to know Kathryn a little bit better, I have a Wallowa County native. Kathryn Kemp is a school mental health counselor, yogi, wine enthusiast, and cat lover with a passion for people and their stories. Kathryn grew up in Joseph before leaving to study psychology and social work, taking her to North Carolina and then New York City until the Wallowa Mountains called her home. This seems to be a theme. Her poet life began in high school with the help of Fishtrap. Oh, that's nice to hear. And continued through spoken word poetry performance in college and graduate school. Her writing focuses on the nuances of human hope, relationship, and yeah, you guessed it, resilience. When she feels privileged to learn about every day through her students. Her greatest hopes are for all Wallowa County kids to be able to see the world one day and for her little kitten, Larry, to live a long, snuggly life. All right, we've moved from dogs to kittens. Welcome, Kathryn. What's Larry, the cat, doing right now?
Oh, well, he's probably hiding under a blanket somewhere. He really loves to snuggle under blankets. I just got him a cat sock that he climbs into and hides in. So yeah, that's probably it. I'm not home, but
I'll have to learn about cat socks later from you, but your turn to read. I've been excited to have you for a long time, and you've read at the Fishtrap Fireside open mic before, but we really welcome you and take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. So, like Mike said, I'm a school counselor and a therapist at the Center for Wellness, and I this first poem reminds me of something that our clinical director said one day at a meeting, who you're actually going to get to hear from next weekend if you're part of Winter Fishtrap. Her name's Lisa. She's awesome. She said that, you know, we're all very used to the idea that that terrible things can happen suddenly and break us in an instant. But we also forget that the opposite can happen, that if we're really, I guess, open to the world, that beautiful things can sweep in and recreate us too, if we let them. So this first one is about a kid that I worked with in a treatment center in North Carolina back in my other life, my East Coast life, and it's called Count Your Blessings. In fourth grade geography class, I learned about tectonic plates, rocks sliding around the basketball planet like pancakes, and that this was how the mountains were made. I came home and said, "Dad, I didn't think the mountains were that fragile." He said, "Most things are." And that's how earthquakes happen, where the ground seems to fall from underneath your feet in San Francisco sometimes. The pancakes slipping and crashing around together, making china plates fall to the ground. And oh my God, take cover because this could be the end of everything right now. So pardon me, but I think whoever said live every moment like it's your last really had no freaking clue about reassurance. Like, yes, this very well could be my last breath, but how is that supposed to make me feel any better? Because the chances of death by earthquake are approximately 1 in every 148,576. Death by airplane crashes, 1 in every 7,032. But don't let these ratios fool you, because 1 in insert insanely large number here still means that this shit happens and there's nothing you can do about it. Oh, and also apparently we all have a very small but real chance of dying in a fireworks discharge incident. So long, my friend. I will not be seeing you at the 4th of July picnic barbecue anymore. But even if I stay home, I still have a 1 in 4,717 chance of dying in a bicycle-related accident. So strap on your reflective gear, my friend, because there's absolutely nothing we can do about it. But I know a little girl who counts all things. She says, "I don't know what is coming tomorrow. I don't know how I'm going to die. But I know there are 19 holes in the drain in the bathroom sink. There are 22 holes in your shoes. I have to do 35 sit-ups or else I have to do 34 sit-ups or 33 sit-ups, 32 sit, 31. I tell her I'm going on a plane today. She says, "Please don't go. Planes are not safe. I do not know how many holes are in your airplane. Planes are not safe. 19 holes in the bathroom sink. 22 holes in your shoes. Maybe if I hide under my small bedside table in the dark and there is an earthquake, then it won't reach me. Maybe if the ceiling falls down right now, maybe I won't feel it from here. 19 holes in the bathroom sink, 22 holes in my shoes. Darling, my heart has tried to climb into small spaces too, sifting my fingers through sand dunes in my stomach, blown by all the things I can't do. And for every 100 things I know, there are 1,000 things I don't. 10,000 things that could fall apart just in this moment. And we only have 10 fingers to hold back this colossal rain because no one taught us how to stretch into umbrellas when our hands can't catch the breaking anymore. So here we stand, soaking in uncertainty, hearts beating like gunshots in a hurricane. Because don't you know this plane could fall out of the sky now? We don't know if every bolt is tight. So instead of saying goodbye, I'll say, here we are today, standing on the edge of everything that keeps us alive, running back and forth between earthquakes, plates that break when we aren't looking, somewhere between I believe so and I have no freaking clue. So I will still sing to you, even when the earth is sliding beneath our dancing feet, because what are the chances that our lungs would be singing, hands raised to the stars on this fragile mountaintop? Because don't you see that against all odds and a billion possibilities, your heart is still beating, pounding on the doors of your chest with every passing second, screaming in your ears, welcome, somehow, right now, we are still here. Okay, the next two are poems I wrote when I was traveling 3 summers ago. And this first one is about, well, on my trip, I went to more old stone churches than I can count. But I felt like I found all the pieces of divinity and all the in-between moments. So this is the Traveler's Prayer. Our Father, who art in stained glass windows and napkins, in steel gardens and stations, in muddy water seeping in like sidewalk. Hallowed be the sudden rain, the soaking street chase, the airport sunrise, the almost missed train. Thy kingdom hide beneath our aching shoulders, in laundry that won't dry, in empty pockets, in wet ink, come when nobody is watching. Thy will be whispered softly in morning, be brushed beneath our fingerprints, be grasped on dark shelves, stumbled over in handshakes. Give us this day more broken wooden wind chimes, more supermarket red wine, less symphonies, more violins in the subway, more screeching notes played on accident. Forgive us our half-finished books, our unfinished conversations, our heavy bags, our empty batteries. Forgive us the cardboard cities that we let grow by the tourist traps. Forgive us the words we never learned. Will we forgive those who've forgotten how to speak? Lead us not into internet search bars, the middle aisles of the market with the plastic wrapped secrets. Make sure we never learn to bottle wonder. Lead us out of airplane magazines and arrival signs. Lead us not into any future that is wearing its seatbelt. And deliver us from traffic circles, from midnight car alarm thoughts, from breathing in exhaust, from exhausting. Deliver us from crosswalk signals that blink but never change. Give us the strength to walk anyway. And this last one doesn't have a title, but I wrote it by the ocean, so I guess that's its title. Poem I wrote by the ocean. Someday, when you need a place to unload the stones you carry in your shoulders, somewhere there is an ocean with skylines wider than your heart and waters deeper than your hurt. Somewhere there is an ocean with cliffs of stone that know they are almost in pieces and still meet the water with fearless greetings. Somewhere there is an ocean that knows everything flows just as it should because everything is just headed back here. And there in the ocean, there are waves to wash your feet as they break beneath your eyes because out there, the horizon never stops. Darling, you are standing too close to see the wondrous whole of things. These waves are never gone. They just return to what they always were. And isn't this what breaking is? Crashing on the edges of something you have never felt, falling back into yourself, and then reaching for miles.
Thank you, Kathryn. Wow. If you'd like to share Fishtrap Fireside with somebody you know, it's easy. We'll have the full reading tonight on our website and Fishtrap's YouTube channel and on Facebook. And if you think this virtual fireside event's enriched your life in some kind of way, think about becoming a fish trapper. For as little as $5 a month, you can get a cool fish trap bumper sticker, a fish trap journal, discounts to events and workshops, and of course the great feeling it comes from just being a part of an organization that you love. I want to thank all our readers, Kate, John, and Kathryn. This month's sponsor, Ruby Peak Naturals. Thank you. And all of you folks who participate and have been a part of and support Fishtrap. It's really important and makes us feel good. Thanks. I hope it makes you feel good too. The next Fishtrap Fireside is Friday, February 5 with Greg Kleiner, Katie Marone, and Nathan Slinker. Thanks for joining us tonight, and thanks to our readers. I hope to see you again next month, and hopefully in Winter Fish Trap. Good night, everybody.